Hello everyone, welcome again to another episode of Stan, Steve and Spider-Man. We've travelled a long time on this journey together for a while now, and I think it's time to take it easy, kick back, a bit of sunscreen on, and relax at the beach with my good friend Matt. How are you, man?
Spring break! What up, y'all? How are we doing today?
We're here today to be talking about The Amazing Spider-Man issue 4. I have to make sure because, again, this would be episode 5 because of Amazing Fantasy fucking us up. But yes, we're issue 5. 4. Damn it!
I feel like Stan Lee and Steve Ditko somehow had some insight of that someday someone would be doing a show about all of this, and they wanted to fuck everyone up.
I think that might be the key. I could see them planning ahead that far. These men were visionaries. But yes, we're going to be talking about a more sandy themed episode, one that's a little coarser, one that's a little rougher, and one that gets everywhere. Talking about Flint Marko, the Sandman, and his first appearance in the issue that I think out of all of them so far, this has probably been the funniest. Like, I feel like this was like the Spider-Man movie that or even just like the Spider-Man like minute short, like 20 minutes short that I always wanted, because goddamn, this is just so funny and it's so witty and it's like it's funny in a way that still like holds up to like you get a lot of humor in like older comics where it doesn't work much because like different sensibilities, different times, or it'll be like kind of like a little bit. Teeth gritting because it'll be like, oh, now Sue, you're a woman, you can't do this, ha 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 ha. It'll be that kind of shit. But here is actually legitimately funny the entire way through while still maintaining like a really good emotional conflict. That's just the biggest thing that I picked up from this.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think it's the fact that just Sandman as a villain, it's really hard to make the idea of Sandman menacing. So I feel like Steve and Stan, I feel like just kind of I don't know. I'm interested to hear them talk about what they think of Sandman, because to me, it gives me perception like this is an idea that they really didn't like, but they're running out of time and they had a deadline, so we probably just thought, let's just do this and get it over with. So we just thought we might as well make this issue an entire joke along the way.
Well, I see, because we get joke characters in Spider-Man, like especially later on, but even someone like the Chameleon is like taken out very quickly, and he's arrested in like a funny way. But like if you look at like maybe they're just being just like super ironic, but they really hype up Sandman in this. Like in the first like little box underneath it, it's like this is where like Spider-Man's like starting to get popular because it's 3 issues in, so they've seen the results of Spider-Man, because in the comic books they're published, they're created before they're published like a couple months beforehand, so they wouldn't have known how well Spider-Man was going to turn out until this point, it seems. So they keep saying, oh my god, thank you for making the first 3 issues so incredible and such a success. This 4th one's going to blow your minds because this is going to have the greatest villain of all, Sandman. And you say he's a funny character, and I agree, he's kind of got like a wacky power set. But I'm just curious on your opinion, Matt, is like, Sandman has got to be one of the most like creative villains in like all of comics, just in terms of what you can do with his powers. He's kind of like incredibly powerful.
Yeah, I think it's the design that makes him a joke, because like power wise, he's kind of a sleeper pick. Because like, I mean, you see him like I feel like the Doctor Octopus thing, like from last issue, they're so close because of like their similarities and powers and stuff. I feel like Sandman low key just could, like, if he wasn't so kind of goofy looking and stuff, and he was like menacing looking, I think he'd actually probably like take out Spider-Man, or we feel a lot more fear for Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's just
if that makes sense.
Yeah, his design is just shut, which in a way is kind of, you'd think there'd be more of this in the Marvel universe and just superheroes in general, because we can understand people like Bruce Wayne, people like Clark Kent, people like Peter Parker. They all have their own reasons for why they dress in these costumes. They all have these own like things. So Batman wants to inspire fear in people. Superman's doing it as like, this is what I wear to represent Krypton, and I'm doing this also because I want people to like see bright colors and feel at ease. Spider-Man wears it to hide his identity and is also just trying to, like, it's a remnant from his showbiz days. You think most of these hardened, like, really serious-ass criminals wouldn't dress so ridiculously. They just go out and use their powers in their regular clothes.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, like, I never thought about it. Yeah, why do supervillains dress up? They don't have any reason to dress up.
Yeah, they're not. Their identity's on public record anyway. Like, why the fuck does, like, we'll see him later on in the issues, but, like, why does Electro need to wear a costume? Like, why does fucking Captain Cold need to dress that way? Like, why does there's, like, characters like these are just, like, Sandman's kind of a brush of fresh air where he's just, you look at him, you think, oh, he's just a thug, but then you punch him, and your hand goes right through him. There's, like, a great, I like that, like, subversion, especially, like, in first encounters. I think Sam Raimi did a really good job of that in Spider-Man 3, where, like, he comes in and he just sees him, oh, he's just a regular guy robbing a bank, throws a swing at him, and he's like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
So, I know, I like that about Sandman. Apart from that, he is, in all his history, since, despite appearing so early in Spider-Man's history, not a lot's been done with him. He's kind of just always a C-list villain in the Marvel Universe, despite, like you say, being a sleeper pick. Like, he could probably he has fought the Hulk, he's fought the Fantastic Four, you can't harm him, you can't really kill him, he can grow to any size, he can take anything, he can harden his body, he's got so many applications, and yet he's always kind of just a goon.
Yeah, he's really someone who hasn't lived up to their full potential. I don't think he had a good high school guidance counselor.
Well, we see here he didn't get a diploma either.
That is also true. Yeah, homie needs to take some night classes, and he can start taking down the Avengers single-handedly.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think it's really interesting because, like, he's usually kind of a big staple in the Sinister Six, isn't he?
Yeah,
or like
he's in the first appearance, and then he's normally even in members that don't have, like, Vulture or, like, Mysterio or stuff. Sandman's nearly always in the Sinister Six.
Yeah, like, he's always in the Sinister Six, but there's, like, I feel like there's so little developed about him. That's really interesting to think about because he's like an OG Spider-Man villain, but, like, you know, there's more about Venom, Venom and Green Goblin are kind of weird exceptions. But, like, you know, I can't think of any villains right now, but I feel like the Jackal's more developed than Sandman.
Even just comparing him to, because I wouldn't say developed, because so Sandman's history is kind of he's went through a lot of phases where he starts off as a Spider-Man villain, and then he becomes a Fantastic Four villain. And he's with the Fantastic Four for a while. So I actually do think Stan Lee really liked this character because he used them a lot in his runs. Like, his two big runs, like Fantastic Four and Spider-Man, that he wrote for, like, all those issues, he always uses Sandman. Like, I think Sandman, and he's the only villain that crosses over. So I think Sandman was, like, one of his favorites. So I think he liked the idea of him. But at the same time, there's not a lot to him. Especially because, whereas after Stan Lee stopped writing the books, people kind of like, okay, what do we do with Sandman? What's his gimmick? So we've got, like, stuff where Sandman will eventually be going, like, to be reformed, and he spends a little bit with, like, Silver Sable, and he's, like, a good guy. Then we introduce people, there's always this ring in the comics of Sandman having a family member, be it a daughter or someone it is related to, that tries to redeem him, and he's like the bum Spider-Man villain who kind of set the template for a lot of Flash villains, where they're not really bad people, they're just kind of crooks who have this is what the hand life dealt them, and they're just trying to make their own way with it. So I feel like there's an appeal to him there. But like you say, even excluding the big three Spider-Man villains, Kraven has a historic story. Mysterio has a historic story with Daredevil even, and he has famous Spider-Man stories. Bloody Electro is normally always, like, put up as a very competent threat, and he's, like, another elemental villain. Even the Vulture just kind of has that thing where he always turns up, and he always has, like, he has an important place as, like, oh, he's the first villain that Spider-Man fought that was really a challenge. But Sandman happens after Doc Ock, so he's not the biggest threat. But then he never really gets any, like, emotional connection with Peter to make him more than that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I don't know. I feel like there's just like one big brick in like the House of Sandman that you know that didn't get like applied properly, and then the whole house just fell down. I just feel like that's a really weird metaphor now I think about it, but it made sense to me. It made sense to me, and that's what really matters here. Uh, but on the real though, yeah, you're right. I think it's timing too, because like kind of like you said, he came out after Doc Ock. I feel like if Doc Ock came out afterwards, Sandman really wouldn't be, or Sandman would probably be a bigger threat and like probably more, you know, written now than he is.
You know what I just thought about what someone should do with him?
What?
Okay, so we've got the Doctor Octopus is like the anti Peter Parker.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's Peter Parker. Like what could happen if he didn't get the lesson from Aunt May and Uncle Ben and turned out with all the power and just turned into like used his intelligence against the world as like this is what happens when like the angry bitter nerd doesn't get their way and like what are the dangers of that. If like Peter Parker's meant to be like this is an ideal template of you're a bullied nerd kid but you can still be a good person. Ock's like the reverse of that. Then you get Green Goblin, who's like the authority figure in the young teenager's world. He's the man. He's the guy that's vastly more powerful than you and influential on you, and is putting you down. He's every teacher you've ever had that's told you you'll never accomplish anything. He's every abusive father. He's every like that kind of figure. That's Green Goblin. So he's like this ultimate persona in Peter Parker's life. Peter Parker's the youth of the world. Green Goblin's like the neglecting adult. Then you got Venom, who was literally like an anti-Spider-Man, is like power, no responsibility. Less tapped on with potential as those two, but still very relevant, still very popular. Sandman, I feel like you could make him the ultimate statement of this is what would happen if the burglar that killed Uncle Ben got powers.
Ooh, that's awesome. I love that.
This is the guy, this is what happens when Peter has to fight. Not only I let that guy get away, but I can't actually stop that guy easily. It's even, like, the thing with Uncle Ben's murder is it could have been very easy for him to stop it, and that's what weighs on him. Sandman's kind of the idea of like, no, he's out of your league. You don't even have to stop him. Let the Avengers or someone take him out. But because of the lessons he's learned, Peter Parker's like, no, even if I can't let any criminal get away, especially this guy, even if he's a random thug and he's doing all like petty crimes, he's so powerful that I physically can't beat him unless I use outside methods. I still need to stop him because I can't let Uncle Ben be risked again, like that kind of figure.
Wow. Alfie, go work for Marvel. I'd read that story like 1,000 times.
I mean, it's just like, because it's kind of there. I don't think it's that much of a reach.
I feel like I just no, that's like no, I can totally see that like a story like that being played in my head, and like like MJ or like some other characters like, hey, it's just Sandman, like like he's a challenge. Like, come on, it's just like I kind of like the idea that MJ isn't scared of Sandman. Yeah. Like, and then Peter does like a cool monologue that this is what would have happened. This is like this is just the same as like the thug that murdered Uncle Ben. And like that seems like if that story came out, that'd be like Sandman's big story. Like that actually, I think that would totally change his game up, because then he'd finally have that iconic story we talked about, like that he doesn't have right now.
Yeah, just like he has to have something that connects him to Peter to make when him and Peter fight more or emotionally satisfying. And again, not every villain needs to have that. I'm not saying he needs to be this. Superhero rogues galleries are normally well versed in having just villains that can be the villain of the week that turns up, and as long as they're entertaining, they're good for a story, and they're not the focus. I'm totally fine with that. But I'm saying if we had to make a definitive Sandman story, that's where I'd go. I wouldn't go with the sympathetic. Maybe you don't want to make him pure evil like the Green Goblin, because the burglar that killed Uncle Ben wasn't pure evil either. He was just a guy. But that's kind of the thing, is you want to have you want to be able to create sympathy and say even petty crimes, Peter Parker has the responsibility to stop, even if they're outside of his like pay view. And that's as a lesson to us is like, look, even if you see injustice being done, don't just ignore it because it's not your problem.
Yeah. Damn, you even popped in a good moral there. Let's go, Alfie. You're really out here for the kids.
I don't know.
Wow. Yeah. Sorry, I was just looking at the panels of SANDMAN from this story. I feel like Steve Ditko had a lot of fun drawing SANDMAN.
Yeah, he's got that. That's literally what made me think of this, is because he kind of looks like the guy that killed Uncle Ben, but he's also just got that really like thug face. You all know the one.
Yeah, like SANDMAN looks like the type of dude to say, "Watch out, the freaking Spider-Man's here."
It's the freaking bat.
Yeah, everything goes for an uppercut, like the world's slowest uppercut.
Oof.
Oof. Dang it, Spider-Man, wait till the boss hears about this.
Literally, he's that dude, given the powers of the strongest being in the world, basically.
Yeah.
But
I call myself the SANDMAN. Now then, any other dumb questions?
Any other dumb questions, you palooka?
SANDMAN's the best.
SANDMAN's the best. We've officially turned around in this like 5 minutes.
Yeah. I remember last week when we were recording. I was like, bro, I do not want to talk about SANDMAN, and here I am.
You SANDMAN.
Hyping up SANDMAN.
All right. So cover time. What do you think of the cover this week?
It's really weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't know. It's just weird. It's like its own like little mini like 4-panel story in a way.
Do you not think, this is what I've always had with this comic, that I've always thought there must have been a mistake, that the second interior cover should have been the main cover, and then that should have been the interior cover?
Holy shit.
Because that one's so good.
This one's really cool, and I'm really literally looking at it.
That one's one of my like favorite Steve Ditko drawings. Like, it's so layered, the angle's really good. The picture of Spider-Man striking is awesome, and the sand pouring on one side and him standing triumphant. Like, that's a really, really powerful image. I think if that had been like one of the main cover, this issue might have been like, oh my god, this was like more renowned just because of that cover alone. Because that's one of Steve Ditko's best pieces.
Yeah, no, honestly, like, if they somehow found a way to like sneak in Jonah J. Jameson on the left side of the picture, like, you literally got the entire story and every single main character in it. It would have been like a movie poster.
I think if they ever made a return to SANDMAN like the MCU or something, I would have loved to see that be like the poster style they went with. A live action version of this.
No, that'd be cool. Honestly, it's really upsetting that movie posters for comic book movies aren't just more like posts or like, you know, covers brought to life.
They should just be Alex Ross covers.
Yeah, like, I mean, no offense, that's what Justice League did, and that poster was sick.
Exactly.
Yeah, instead of fucking Photoshop. But yeah, I think you're right. I think there had to be an error here because that's why I think it's a weird cover, because it looks like, you know, the first page, or what's the proper word called? You just used it.
Interior cover, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the proper word. I just made that up, but I don't know.
It sounds really smart and correct to me, so I will use it as well. Yeah. So the interior cover, I think that, like, the main cover looks like an interior cover for sure, because like it's hyping up as SANDMAN's gonna be a threat, because it looks like you already bought the book. You're just trying to figure out what's gonna happen next.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the last page, or the last like picture on the cover is just really weird looking to me. Where it's like, see why I'm called the SANDMAN?
Yeah. It's just like, I'm literally choking.
Yeah, like it looks kinky.
Yeah, like Spider-Man's in like a weird, being held down. SANDMAN's smiling a little too much. He's bent over. It's like, that's I'm just. It also reminds me, you know, like really famous like Todd McFarlane Venom cover where like Spider-Man's in a similar position and like Venom's like hanging over him. It's like, is Peter Parker just like a power bottom or something? Because like all these guys are just like mounting him hardcore, and it's kind of uncomfortable to look at.
Hey, you never know. Maybe Spider-Man swings both ways.
Oh, he's a king. But yeah, so like I think the main cover, it's all right, but it certainly doesn't fit the standard of the others, like of any of all of them leading up to this. If that's why it feels so weird, because none of the other covers are like this. But then the interior cover is like god tier, so that would be my verdict for this week.
Yeah, I hold this opinion as well.
Mm-hmm. But speaking of the issue itself, I remember I kind of hyped up how funny this is. This might already be one of my favourite Spider-Man moments in all of history, and I need it to be adapted more, because it's the funniest fucking series of circumstances I've ever seen in a superhero comic.
What, the entire issue as a whole, or?
No, this first page!
Oh yeah. No, that's a great... I think this first page is awesome. But I wish Spider-Man Homecoming had a scene like this.
Because it would fit so well.
It would have fit. Well, see, that's the thing. Now his Spider-Man is a little too mature for him. I feel like after Spider-Man goes into space, you're too mature to pull off something as stupid. But right now, it's just really funny to me. And for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, pretty much what happens is Spider-Man sees some dudes down below, and they're just catching him out because, you know, they're in front of a jewelry store. They haven't done anything bad, and Spider-Man just starts beating the shit out of them, or about ready to beat the shit out of them. And they start calling the police because Spider-Man's assaulting them. and then the cop's like, "What's going on?" And then Spider-Man's, "Oh fuck!" And he just dips. He started like, "Shit, I did assault them."
He's like, "Oh my god, I've just committed assault." and then the cops I just like the cops just seem so annoyed by all of this. He's just like, "Oh my god, can we stop? This is the 5th time this week." Because I love the panels, like, because like Spider-Man like grabs them, and then like the leader of the bunch is like, "Wait, hold on. We're just walking. We're just looking at the jewelry store. You can't just attack us in a costume in the middle of the street." And then they just like they just start roasting Spider-Man. Like he's just standing there in the middle of them really awkwardly. And one of them was like, "Look, why the fuck do you dress like that? You look like an absolute asshole." And then the Spider-Man's like,
"Don't you look like a jerk parading that around?"
Yeah. Then they just all turn around and say, "Help! Please help, Spider-Man!" And the Spider-Man's just like, "Shit!"
Yeah, it's so great. Yes, I know. I love the panel where they're calling out for the police. Spider-Man's just sitting there like, it's such a Peter Parker thing to do. Like, he just does not know what to do in this situation.
He's just like stood there awkwardly.
Yeah, such an awkward pose. It's great.
It's one of my favorite things, and I need it in more Spider-Man because it is the kind of thing of like, you think it would happen more often because like we always see superheroes like jump in a nick of time, but like. They are. If your criminals were smart, they'd be like, "Hold on, if we know Spider-Man's like staking out the area, why don't we let's bait him out, and then when he comes, we'll make him in fucking getting captured or something." Like you think it'd be more a common thing because like they have no proof that they've done anything. They haven't done anything yet. He can't get him on intention because it's not like Spider-Man can just sit there and go on record. He's got identity.
Yeah. You think at this point, like, I feel like that'd be a very good cliche to do with like very lighthearted superheroes, in a sense, like, or not lighthearted, but like, you know, a childish joy that like Spider-Man brings and like Shazam.
Yeah,
Shazam.
Like that. Shazam having a scene like this would be amazing.
Like this stream's like dumb kid who doesn't really know what they're doing yet.
Yeah, it's kind of perfect.
Yeah.
Like Spider-Man like gets a bit in a fuss because he's like, well, damn it, because of Jameson, like Jameson's now been continuing his editorials from the previous issues, and now they're apparently like going full force of like Spider-Man's a menace, Spider-Man's a menace. So everyone in the public kind of just doesn't see him as like, important. It just sees him as kind of a joke. So in revenge, Peter Parker does a very asshole-ish move, but I kind of love it because it's so Peter Parker. He just like sneaks into his office and leaves a little surprise on his desk for him.
Just a little souvenir.
And the way he words it, it's like, well, is he gonna shut his desk or something?
yeah, exactly. The way you word, you're like, wait a minute, Peter, what's going on here?
It's kind of great. But then, so as he's finished leaving a surprise for Jonah, he looks out and he sees like police chasing down a criminal, and he's like, okay, I can redeem myself. I can stop this guy. So he throws a spider signal. He's like, "Halt! I'm Spider-Man. I'm here to stop you." But little does he know, it's the star of this issue, Mr. Flint Marko, and he's this first battle. The Spider-Man tries to apprehend him. It's very interesting. I think it's very entertaining to see a superhero just so outmatched, like power set wise. I wonder what you thought of that.
Yeah, no, I say, yeah, it's very comedic. Like, it's just like you just see Spider-Man fail at every single like way of capturing him, and then I don't know. See, to me it's just funny because like, let's compare it to the Doctor Octopus outmatching from last week, which honestly, thank God, like these issues came out so similar, because I feel like the way they fight Spider-Man have a lot of similarities in the sense of like it's really tough for Spider-Man in the very beginning.
Mm-hmm. This becomes a trope. Is Spider-Man always loses the first fight?
Yeah, he's young Rocky Balboa.
Mm-hmm.
But so Doctor Octopus was like, you feel scared for Peter. Like you see Peter get bitch slapped. Like you feel that like Spider-Man's not going to win this one.
Yeah.
This one, like you're kind of on Saban's side in a way, just because like, look how stupid Spider-Man's looking right now. Like at every single turn, everything's going wrong, and like that's just how it is with Peter Parker sometimes.
Mm-hmm. It's just be one of those days.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and what makes it worse is like I feel like the worst way you can truly beat Spider-Man is making him rip off his mask, and then he can't do anything for a while.
Yeah.
That's what I like too. I don't know. I was like it when Spider-Man gets his mask ripped in a fight, because to me it shows a lot of weakness. I feel like the more you rip his mask, the more you've broken Peter Parker, or not broken Peter Parker, but destroyed Spider-Man, like temporarily.
It's very, very key in Spider-Man's costumes, like it's informed his character, that he wears a full face mask where you can't even see his eyes, because Peter Parker is able then to be the kind of guy he can't be in public, because he's very like awkward and there's social boundaries and stuff. He gets to be who he is normally when he's Spider-Man. He gets to be as witty as he is, because Peter Parker's got a good sense of humor. He just doesn't have the confidence. But then when he's got a mask, he feels that confidence because he's not being judged, he's not being looked at. And the more you rip that away, the more you're having to face, okay, Peter, when the chips are down and it's just you, are you really as good as you pretend to be when you've got the advantage of a full face mask?
Wow, I kind of felt that. Ow, my heart.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Because I've done Spider-Man cosplay, and I'm just like, I know it's like you put on that costume and the complete anonymity it is everything's jokes flow thrower. You feel more like, oh yeah, I can like entertain people. I can be like full of like energy and be able to say, oh hi kids, hi, I'm Spider-Man, and then the eyes light up and everything. You get like a buzz from it. And that's what Peter lives on, is like I can be Spider-Man when I'm Peter Parker and my life sucks, but when I'm Spider-Man I can be amazing and have all this fun and enjoy myself, even if sometimes life gets hard. But especially now when he's young and he's basically in these more light-hearted adventures, he's having a good time mostly. And this is kind of the thing, is when that's ripped, you see this really cool panel of like all his insecurities, which are very like, I appreciate how there are 15-year-olds insecurities, because this is all ridiculous, but it's very real to him.
Yeah, I'll say, yeah, no, I actually really like that panel because like, it's just something funny about it. I think it's just how Aunt May is.
Yeah, it's just way too over
She's
the top.
She's selling shoelaces.
She's like, don't worry about me, Peter. I'll get by. I'm an old woman. It's like the most stereotypical, like, cartoon. Oh no, what will I do if I'm not there to support them? And they're just like sad violin music's playing as like everything's going wrong.
Yeah, yeah. Jonah J. Jameson's trying to get him expelled to school because, like, let's be honest. I feel like I forget. Does Jonah J. Jameson know that he's Spider-Man currently?
Now. Yes, he does.
Yeah. Like, he finds out, and then he's just kind of like, oh fuck. Like, I feel like even back then he would have had that same reaction. Like he found out that Spider-Man was Peter. He wouldn't be calling for Spider-Man to get expelled.
Yeah, it's because back when we see like a really nice in like a spectacular Spider-Man issue that came out recently with like Peter and Jonah go back in time.
So good.
Jonah sees young Peter and he's like, "My God, I'm so sorry. You're just a kid." He he freaks out because he's like, "I pay people to kill you. You're just a kid." I feel like he feels sick because he did all that because he thought Spider-Man was just a man. He thought he was a guy running around like a criminal. He had no idea it was literally a 15-year-old kid supporting his aunt. Like, that's the kind of understanding that Peter has of Jonah right now. Is he thinks if that happened, if he got revealed, he'd end up Jonah would be like vilifying him and hating him and stuff. And maybe at the time when Stan Lee wrote this, that would have happened because Jonah's kind of still a caricature at this time. But later, knowing what we know, kind of looking back at this retrospectively, it's interesting to see. And like his mask gets ripped in the fight with Sandman, so he thinks, oh no, what if Flint Marko would recognize me? Flint Marko wouldn't know who the fuck he is.
Yeah. Especially, how is he gonna know some random nerdy teenager out of anyone in all of big New York City?
Flint Marko's been in prison since Peter Parker was born.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just one of those things where like he's panicking because he doesn't know what to do and he's scared because he's vulnerable because the mask is ripped and therefore, oh shit, this is real now because I don't have my mask to hide behind. It's a nice character moment, and again we get to justify, oh, Spider-Man runs away, but in a different way than with Doc Ock where he gets legitimately like beaten. Here Peter's like, he's still in the fight but he runs away, so he's not really beaten, he's more just like, I need to dip because I don't want to reveal myself.
I'd say he's not physically beaten. He's just very mentally beaten.
Mm-hmm. So we basically just get a nice little scene of like, so Flint Marko's kind of like, well, I beat Spider-Man, time to carry on what I was doing, and he's the creative ways of him like robbing banks with like his sand powers, which I really appreciate, and I think like that's kind of why he's lasted so long is because again he's a very visual character. I know when Sam Raimi in like documentaries for Spider-Man 3, he says he really wanted to do Sandman because that's a character you can do a lot with on film. It's someone who is very unique in just terms of like dynamics and powers and just what does that look like when sand moves, and just he's a very malleable character really, which is ironic because sand versus everything, but he's basically, if you get like Spider-Man is like you said in I think in the first episode of when you were like Spider-Man brings out the best of an artist. I feel like Sandman kind of complements that as well, because if an artist can think of cool ways to draw Sandman, he can do whatever he wants with him.
I think you're right. Well, especially the fact that sand as a when you think about it, well, here's the thing though, like he's cool to look at, but at the same time he's kind of boring to look at. Yeah. Because he's like the green shirt's kind of cool, but not really. But like he doesn't have a lot of color to him. It's a lot of like like kind of like a boring yellow shade. So I think you're right. I think Sandman does bring out the best in artists, especially if they're really effective as Sandman. Just because I think making Sandman should be easy to make cool to watch, and I think he is easy to make cool to watch in like animations, movies, things where you're actually going to see Sandman move. I think it's kind of hard to do in comics because you don't really get the actual movement; you just get imagery of the movement.
I agree, but I feel like Steve Ditko does it really well here.
Yeah.
Especially as he's basically coming up with on the fly, okay, how does this guy work? And he does it like incredibly well. There are some goofy panels where like he like hits Spider-Man with like his stomach, but it's kind of hilariously goofy. And there's just like a montage later on where like Sandman's like a head with a snake like floating around, which looks hilarious and needs to be memed more.
Oh yeah, no, I'm looking at that one right now. Yeah, the ones where his legs are just straight stand and everything else is fine. Yeah, I think Sandman's very fun. I feel like as an artist, like if you can start really, if your brain can really start popping off of ideas, I think it's really good. I think it's just really hard to start the idea of what you want to do as Sandman.
Mm-hmm. But so we get another classic Spider-Man image here, which will be like in every adaptation ever. Peter Parker has to sew his own costume, so you just see him picking his forms because he's like, fuck, I don't know how to do this. I have to learn this on the fly. And this is one of my, this again, Stan Lee and Ditko, they're building up this character so differently than every other superhero at the time. And it's really what made him stand out. Because you never see a superhero do this. But it's like the most obvious thing, especially for like low tier, like street level heroes. Like you never see Daredevil have to sew up his own costume. How the fuck does he do that?
Yeah, you're right. Which is, yeah, you think Daredevil, they kind of would have made it do it. You think someone would have made Daredevil do it? I can't think of Daredevil ever having to fix his costume.
No.
But you think like Bendis or like Miller, you think. I feel like guys like those would have made Daredevil at least, I don't know, sew up something once, maybe put new horns on.
That's true.
But I like this image just because Spider-Man. Just because I love this line of dialogue, because you take out one word and replace it. Yikes! This is ridiculous. I'm no cotton picking seamstress, but I've got to do it myself.
Oh my god.
I remember reading that line like 3-4 years ago, and I was like, wow, that they were walking on thin ice.
it was a different time, and it was something that's not aged well, but for such a definitive Spider-Man moment, it's kind of awkward that that's kind of in there.
But I mean, there's nothing inherently bad about it. It's just thank goodness it's seamstress.
Yeah, it's yikes.
Yeah. But yeah, then. Yeah, you're right. I think that is a good moment. It's weird because like you think someone would have copied it. I still don't ever see superheroes like fixing their own costume.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't know. I feel like if we had a big following, the comments right now would be attacking us. Be like, well, actually, we see Nightwing taping up his costume in issue 112. And we get like 4 essays about how.
Well, please make those essays because I need more comments on these goddamn videos.
I would argue with people in the comments. I want to be that guy.
I want to be that guy. So like we get this like little montage of Sandman's origin, which again makes Sandman and Octopus like different than the Vulture or the Chameleon because we never got their origins. We have a name for him. He's Flint Marko. So this is like the evolution of Stan Lee and Ditko maybe taking their villains a little more seriously when they're not just their alias. They have like a backstory. And just going off this backstory, it makes me very, very confused about why out of all of Spider-Man's villains, Sandman's the one who's been like redeemed the most, or like he's got a bit of good in him. Because like from this backstory, he's like a hardcore mob, like Black Mask level kind of, like he should be like a gangster hardcore villain. Like he should be like a rival to the Kingpin with like this rep.
Yeah, hold on,
he's not a petty crook. He's on the FBI's most wanted list.
No, I'm just rereading everything because like I totally forgot that, because I don't know, in my head I think it's just the look. He just looks like a petty crook.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he's kind of terrifying. He's an actual menace to society.
Literally, Jonah was right. I'm just like, all right, maybe the whole Uncle Ben thing I mentioned earlier doesn't really work with this. But you know what you could do with that if you want to make him more visual and entertaining? Keep the face, keep the hairdo, keep like he looks like a thug. Put him in a business suit, smarten him up a bit, give him a bit of class. Have him be a thug who looks like a thug, but is so powerful that he's then like kind of risen through the ranks and like runs a part of New York gangs because he's just unstoppable. You can't fight him, and like, he's this thug who made it big, and then you have the Sand in like a business suit. That would look pretty cool. He'd be a bit more flashy then.
I'll say what I really like is I'm kind of getting this image from like the part right underneath the FBI one. I'd want him to actually wear a khaki suit with like a green like undershirt and or a green shirt and a white tie. Like he's still repping the colors, but he's shown that he's like moved up.
Mm-hmm.
Because,
and that would kind of go with like the Peter Parker thing of like he's an underdog in like his own criminal world, but then with the power, he's basically become a superstar.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that'd actually be really cool. Especially because like, isn't Kingpin like the mayor of New York or something now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of room right now for like power shifts. So like the little gang subplot that's always going on in New York Marvel.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that's missing because you see, like Gotham especially is like really good with like there's so many different gangs. You can do a lot of different stories. Like you have the Penguin, you have Black Mask, you have like all the supervillains have their own like little mobs. But then you have like the criminals, like the people who are insane, but they're just like in like these theatrical costumes because it's just what people do in comics. But like I feel like Marvel needs more of those groups because you really have only got Kingpin in New York. And yes, that's the point. He's meant to be the top dog. But I thought you could still have smaller people like the Rose or Purple Man or stuff like people that the Punisher can fight on occasion. Or like I think the Sandman would be a great Punisher villain because he's the one guy he can't kill.
Yeah. Ooh, interesting. Punisher. I was thinking. I don't know, for some reason I heard Kingpin. I'm like, wait a minute, Kingpin's a hero. Why would you want that? Punisher would actually be a really cool Punisher villain.
Or like Wolverine even, because again, how does Wolverine fight Sandman? He literally cut his power. He's not designed to fight Sandman. Like, yeah, that's a really cool matchup.
Well, for Sandman, not Wolverine. Wolverine gonna get stopped.
Exactly.
Oh.
It's just that as we're talking more about this, I keep feeling like this is just a wealth of untapped potential right here. This guy's been around forever and no one's doing anything with him. But he's so creative and you can do so many different angles with him.
Yeah, this is so sad. They could I've never thought about I'm thinking there's a lot of he'd be cool for Iron Fist to fight for a while. I feel like Iron Man could easily beat Sandman now I think about it.
Iron Man could take him out. But like the street level guys, like Luke Cage or someone.
I'll say I think even some of the higher tier guys would have some issues with Sandman. Now that I really think about it.
Yeah, because he can't be damaged.
Yeah, like like the big names like Wolverine and shit. Like Wolverine's gonna get curb stomped.
Mm-hmm. If he goes inside his lungs, you could kill him.
Yeah.
You could drown him with sand, because that's one of the only ways you can kill Wolverine is by drowning him, and Sandman could do that.
Ugh, that sounds so gross.
Exactly, but you fucking seen there's like this infamous Marvel Zombies panel of where Sandman like goes inside an alternative version of Spider-Man, like bursts him open from the inside.
No, I've never read anything from Marvel Zombies because it looked dumb to me.
Yeah, it is, but it's a panel I've seen a lot. It's horrifying, but it's also just like it always stuck with me because I was like, fuck, if this guy was like a hardened killer, he could take out nearly everyone.
If Sandman had the brain of Carnage.
Jesus, give him a symbiote.
Oh no.
GG, it's over.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah. Oh, give him the Carnage. Yeah, that'd be insane.
Oh my god.
Well, I don't know. Would the Carnage symbiote even like make him do anything? Like it visually looked really cool to see like a flow of red goo going everywhere, but like I don't really see how the symbiote could power him up.
Could it even attach to him?
Yeah. Could it really attach to Sandman's anatomy?
I don't know. It'd be again just even more pointing out. There's a lot you can do with this in Spider-Man's world that he's not being done with. But for the moment, Spider-Man's world is kind of just like Aunt May. This little panel is just Spider-Man's like been sewing up his costume all night, and he's still wearing his costume. So he puts over, and Aunt May's about to walk in. So he puts on his dressing gown, he covers himself, and Aunt May is absolute queen, comes in, cookies and milk, not even asked for, immediately starts worrying about, are you okay? Oh, that's alright, you don't have to go to school tomorrow. Like, Jesus Christ, this woman is a saint.
Yeah, Aunt May is truly the most wholesome being on the planet. I can understand why Petey made a deal with the devil.
I can understand why Dr. Octopus wanted to marry her.
Oh, I don't know about that one, Chief. Yeah, I find that relationship so weird.
It is, but we'll probably get to it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that at a different time. Mrs. Salmon's spot to shine in Aunt May's.
Exactly.
But yeah. Yeah, no. I don't know. I do like how, I don't know, I like how, like, it almost feels like there's like a movie like edit shift where like just jump straight to Jonah J. Jameson.
That's true. And we've got like this like really nice there's this really nice moment I like of just like showing that Peter does appreciate Aunt May and then they have a good bond. It's very nice to see comics at this time. You don't really get to see like single parents or like single carers looking after someone. And it's just nice to see Peter and Aunt May's relationship where like she's giving him breakfast and she's worrying about him and he's not resentful of it. He knows she doesn't have to do this, but he's smiling because he enjoys it, because he enjoys having someone that actually cares that much about him, even if she's worrying too much. It's just nice for him in a world where everyone else hates him.
Wow, yeah, you're right. That is really wholesome when you really boil it down. I say, my thing is like, I'm also just thinking about 60 comics because I'm trying to think if there really is any other single carriers like you mentioned earlier, but like Batman and Robin, I mean, really is no carrier. You could argue against Batman and Robin, but
and
that's
then Alfred's only introduced later, and even then, when Alfred's first introduced, he's like a comic relief character. He's not like a father figure to Bruce Wayne. That only really happened when Frank Miller came on.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll say, yeah, Batman and Robin, interesting. Yeah, well, you could argue, I guess, Batman and Robin, no, like, Bruce to Dick is, like, a single, like, I don't know, but they feel like more like pals, old chums.
Or brothers, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, the father-son dynamic didn't come till later. And Superman's, yeah, you're right. That is a very unique relationship, especially in comics at the time. I don't think anyone really did the single-parent thing.
Even Superman, for the longest time, he was from an orphanage, or then his parents died when he was young. It was only very, like, comparative to his history. I think it was even John Byrne, even, who, like, kept both parents alive. Because his parents never show up in the Silver Age comics. Mara and Pa Kent are very, very, like, nothing compared to how relevant Aunt May is here at the moment.
Yeah, you're right. Interesting. Wow. I wonder if they realized how unique Aunt May is, or they just thought that's just what felt natural and they didn't really think about it.
Yeah, it's very unique. Like, she's not even his mother; she's his aunt.
Yeah, she's just a woman who's like well, I mean, you know, family's family, but she didn't really have to do any of this.
No, it's just one of those things where it's just like a lot of more modern interpretations have kind of like picked up on this. Like, Aunt May and Peter Parker, really, neither of them chose this. Like, his parents left them at their doorstep, and she was like, well, me and Ben can't have kids, but we'll raise this guy, but as long as I've got Ben with me. And Uncle Ben dies, and then she's just left with this kid that because Peter's from Uncle Ben's side of the family.
Yeah.
So again, they're not even really related.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, there's no blood at all. When you really boil it down, it's just straight love.
It's what makes it really good. And that's why I like Aunt May at the moment isn't really a character, she's just good, but later adaptions will kind of like heighten that, and it's why I feel like the age plays a factor, but at the same time it's more important that this woman who has no physical or bonding relationship just took in this kid, and out of the sheer goodness in her heart took responsibility for him, because that's what Peter needs to learn, is like, it doesn't matter who they are, you should care for people.
I'm really teary-eyed right now. Aunt May's so good.
Aunt May is. She's an underrated character. I really feel like that's something like a lot of people praise Alfred, but I'm also like Aunt May's a badass too. Aunt May's like one of the like most enduring supporting characters in comics history, and she kind of gets a bad rap.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Aunt May should be just as loved as Alfred, especially with how much hype Alfred gets.
Exactly.
Well, I think the thing is, it's weird. I feel like the one reason why Alfred gets so much hype the way he does now with current people is because of Michael Caine's performance.
That's true.
You would think, because that, I forget her name, but Rosemary or whatever.
Rosemary Harris smacked Dr. Octopus in the face with her umbrella.
Yeah, Rosemary Harris was so good as Aunt May. I don't understand why Rosemary Harris didn't. I feel like if the Raimi movies came out later, like, you know, like if Spider-Man 1 came out in like 2006 or something,
yeah,
I think Rosemary Harris would be getting so much hype and love. I think Aunt May, the game would have changed for Aunt May.
They definitely wouldn't have shot her.
Yeah. Jeez.
I know, right? I'm just saying, this is the kind of mentality. But yeah, so we, like you said, we have this like cut to Jameson, but before that we have this like really nice line, which I'm just like, she tells Peter before he goes out, take your umbrella, because like, it may rain. It's just like, such like over-caring thing. But then he's like such a good sport about it. He's like, boy, if the world ever found out that Spider-Man had to carry an umbrella and promise not to exert himself, like that's just so wholesome. It's just like so good.
Yeah, no, that actually is a very good scene. Taking her umbrella.
But then we get Jameson, and we get the payoff to Peter's little surprises. Jameson comes swarming in, and there's a funny line where he's like, this is the kind of like big brain knowledge Jameson has that we can't comprehend as mortals. He's like, first Spider-Man plagues the city, and now Sandman. I wonder if there could be a connection. What a scoop it would be if I proved there is. Like he starts theorizing that what if Sandman and Spider-Man were the same person? I'm like, how?
Why? They were there at the same time.
Is it just because they've both got man in their name?
Yeah. He really is Alex Jones.
He's just like big brain knowledge right here. Like it's just like that woke me needs to be replaced with J. Jonah Jameson. It's whereas Spider-Man is a menace. Spider-Man and Sandman are a menace. Spider-Man is Sandman.
That's a great meme. Oh my god, that'd be so good.
Someone needs to make that like immediately. Oh, holy crap! But yeah, good old JJ gets his ass stuck on the chair because Peter webbed it earlier. This is kind of before the whole rule that his webbing runs out if it's left for an hour. This is where it's kind of permanent. So Spider-Man Jameson gets his trousers stuck, and it's hilarious because he's just like, it's the work of that miserable Spider-Man. Why don't we just stand there gawking? Miss Brandt, go get me another pair of trousers.
The fact he says trousers, that makes it great.
And then we see this amazing panel of this man standing proudly in his boxers, arm on one side, cigar puffing, and Peter's just like hanging his trousers on. He's like, here, Mr. Jameson, and he looks so defiant.
Well, I think the best part, what's also great about this panel is, as we discussed, the fat bait clouds, but Peter's face, you can tell, like, the way Ditko drew him, like, he didn't put like a lot of detail in it, but you can tell that Peter's enjoying the fuck out of this.
Yeah, he's also kind of like, I didn't need to see him in his shorts. I've seen a little bit of too much from Jameson today. Yeah,
he's like, no, I think Peter's fine with it because Peter's like, this is exactly what I wanted to happen.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, this is kind of where like we get the status quo of every issue he'll go to Jameson, talk about photos and stuff. Nice little dynamic there. I'm glad this is like set up as like the thing. But another big status quo change, which we're starting to introduce now, is a bit more romance focus between Peter and Liz Allen, which will become a more running thread. So apparently, after all this time, Liz Allen accepted a date. Once again, proving to some reason there's a fan misconception that Peter Parker's like has to be ugly or like crap with girls. Liz is totally willing to go on a date with him. It's his fault that he has to chase Sandman, that he turns her down and that she pisses her off because, rightly so, she's like, okay, I'll go on a date with you, and then the next day she's like, oh, sorry, I can't do it. Like, that's justifiable.
Yeah, but lucky for her, she can go out with a real man.
Yeah, exactly. A real hunker man, Flash T. Thompson.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Yeah, you're right. Peter really. Yeah, I don't like the idea that Peter's cowardly towards women. I feel like if anything, he's pretty fucking brave when it comes to chicks.
Yeah, he's like got some of the most love interests like next to Batman.
Yeah, I'll say like he's. Honestly, Clark Kent's more cowardly towards women than
literally.
Peter
Clark
is.
Kent has like three: Laurie Lamanis, Lois Lane, and Lana Lang. Those are the three, and maybe Wonder Woman sometimes. But like that's the stretch for Superman.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. But that's the stretch. Batman, obviously, billionaire playboy, has a long list. Daredevil, obviously, because again, playboy. Peter Parker, shy, awkward nerd, probably has like he has like at least 10 that I can think of the top of my head, like Betty Rout, Mary Jane, Gwen Stacy, Felicia Hardy, Liz Allen, Glory Grant, bloody friggin' Carla Cooper. Like the list goes on.
Oh, well, I'm not even saying like being a player. I'm just saying like Superman. Like Clark Kent took forever to shoot his shot with Lois. Peter's young white Iverson. He's taking every shot.
In Amazing Fantasy 15, yeah, he straight up asks him, "Do you want to go on to the science fair with me?"
Yeah.
Issue 1, he's asking. But yeah, he gets turned down because he turned her down, and then he's just like, oh wow, great, Spider-Man's just completely kicking my ass right now. That sucks. Very Tom Holland, a very homecoming moment right here, which I like. But then we get this iconic panel of this police officer trying to capture Sandman, and he's just there's like a snake with his head, and it's the funniest fucking thing.
The police officer, I think what's the best part is the police officer just look so fucking tired of dealing with Sandman. We're just like, bro, can you just escape so we can leave?
Exactly, because they're just like we get this montage of his crime spree, but I can't get over why this isn't me more often. Of just imagine if you're walking down the street and you saw that Marco face on that snake-like thing running around.
I'd probably call the cops.
I call the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, the cops are there. I would call them Fantastic Four. That's your only hope at this point.
Where are they?
Yeah. What are the Fantastic Four doing right now?
Probably, I don't know.
Again,
this is at that point where it's just like we established in previous issues that the Fantastic Four are close by and normally like appear. So then you get these stuff where like, well, Sandman's a famous crime spree and he's pretty powerful. Where are the other superheroes? You just kind of have to wink and
accept
nod.
it.
Yeah, it's just one of those. It's one of the problems of a shared universe, but you can't really blame it.
Yeah. This is one of the problems. You're like, stop being a killjoy. Just accept that flaws like that are just gonna happen once you cross over.
It's also one of the problems that Marvel has is like when they put all their superheroes in the same city.
Yeah, I agree. Which is why I've always. In my head, I always wondered, like, if I got to be in charge of the Marvel Universe, I would really shake it up.
Yeah, you'd put everyone else in different places.
Yeah, Daredevil's going to St. Louis, baby.
Mm-hmm. I remember he went to San Francisco for a while.
Yeah, but I feel like, see, that's the thing. Here's what I don't like about Marvel does. When occasionally they will relocate, like the 9,000 New York superheroes, but then they just put them in like San Francisco. Have you noticed that? Like, aren't the West Coast Avengers there like right now?
I think so.
Yeah, like I don't know. I feel like all right, like all the West Coast Avengers. I think Black Widow used to be out there for a bit. They just take all the superheroes, take them out of New York and just put them into San Francisco. I need give me some Midwest superheroes. Give me a superhero down in Texas.
The only time I remember that was in Civil War when they had like that 52 state initiative that they were going to go around and do. Like it was Tony Stark was like, "I'm going to put a superhero in every state."
Yeah, Yeah, I'll say that's cool to me.
But they
I like
never
that
did
idea.
it.
Yeah, well, I get why, because like, let's be honest, what the fuck's going on in South and North Dakota? Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, there's actually nothing. But like, give me a guy in Chicago, St. Louis, Austin, Texas, places like that.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of become their shtick in Marvel at the moment. It's just that's part of their style. Is like Stanley made sure they'll all be in the same place because he liked having Spider-Man can have an issue and then Thor can just fly up by. You don't need an explanation for it. So I understand it, especially now. It's a bigger problem now than it was then because back then you only had a few. You only had like 10 heroes, so it wasn't so bad. Now we've got like hundreds.
Yeah. Yeah, for real. I don't know. The New York thing's has always been an issue for me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then, you could add. To me, you could argue the city is just as big as a character as like anyone in the supporting cast. Even when everyone has the same, like, I don't know, same time it's kind of good. I think that's might be one strength of Marvel is that you all kind of have this like feeling of unity in New York.
You can have like the Daily Bugle be in everyone's book.
Yeah, you can have the Daily Bugle or like if they really don't do it a lot, but they could if they wanted to. Like something big that happens in like Spider-Man, like it's not necessarily like it could like have some sort of effect in like a Daredevil book.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Overall, I do not like the overcrowding of New York.
I agree, but deciding to get somewhere a little bit more crowded, Sandman goes to his high school to hide, which is pretty ingenious, I guess. He doesn't seem like to want the hostages. He's just like, maybe no one will look for me, and he just like straight up walk. This is again proving why he obviously didn't finish his education because he expects the high school to be empty in the middle of class, like. So he just walks in someone's room and is like he's like, oh my god, this room's packed. When really it's like, come on, surely you'd expect it to be empty in the middle of the day. But Sandman kind of has like a funny moment where he's just like, he doesn't hold them for money or anything. He's just totally like, you know what, I'm gonna. There's a little stat coming on your end, Matt. Don't know what you're doing at the moment, but. Okay.
I'm sorry, what?
That was just a little bit of static there from your side.
Oh, okay. Oof, well, I think I'm good now.
Yeah, you're good now. I didn't know you were doing something. But, so, like, Sandman walks in, and he's, like, holding the principal hostage, and he's like, give me a diploma. Which, I mean, I respect... I respect the vision, but odd timing. I don't know how you're gonna get that like officiated in the middle of a hostage situation, but you go you.
Yeah, that's such a dumb. It's so dumb that it's funny.
It is. You gotta just like, especially given how powerful and unstoppable he's been up to this point. It's kind of just a reminder. Yeah, this guy's a total idiot.
Yeah. Honestly, it would have been funnier if the person was like, "All right, bet," instead of like like being like brave.
Yeah, I don't understand it. Surely because he's like, "I'll hold him off, you run." Surely it'd be easy if you said, "Yeah, come over here. Let me get your details," and then let them run while he's doing that with you. Why you gonna try and fight him?
Yeah. Principal's dumb.
Like they're all like, "Wow, look at the principal. Now there's a man with guts." And like this guy's gonna get you all killed.
This 8-year-old man's senile. You do not listen to him. Run.
That is not the way you handle a situation where where children in your car are in danger. But luckily, it's Peter Parker's school, so Spider-Man's on the scene and takes him out, like, gets into a fight with him. And we get this nice, like, the first moment of many where Flash Thompson's like, go get him, Spider-Man! And then Peter kind of enjoys that. He's like, well, if they knew it was Puny Parker they were cheering, they probably wouldn't do so, but he gets a kick out of it. Which I like the setting for a fight, where Peter Parker finally gets to kind of be a hero in front of everyone, even if they don't know it's him.
Yeah, I'll say, no, I agree. I think deep down this is really good for like his psyche, because I don't know. Peter's interesting because to me the way that they kind of write Peter. Peter's one of those kids who's like really not as big as an outcast as he thinks he is. Like
he makes himself more of an outcast than he actually would be.
Yeah, exactly. Like Peter's probably not the most popular guy at school, but like I don't think he's like hated. But in Peter's head, like no one likes him.
Mm-hmm. And then he continues, because he has that idea in his head, he makes it worse because he's not quiet, he's argumentative. He will snap back at Flash, which causes him to fight more. Yeah,
exactly. It's so I think the fact that he actually got to like get some of that out with Spider-Man is really important for him.
Mm-hmm. So we now have an extended like kind of climax of the issue. We have a good fight scene. Just what do you think of this final battle between Spider-Man and Sandman? Because I think it's less humorous than the first. I think it's got a bit more of that threat that was with Ock, but it is again no, not with Ock, sorry, but the first Sandman fight. But just what are your general opinions on it?
I think it's good. I think see when I think Sandman, I think of shit like this more, him doing like Clayface looking stuff, more than I think of like him turning into like a giant like sand puddle or like a sand snake.
Yeah.
So this to me is more like textbook Sandman, which I don't mind. I think it's very good. I think it's very fun to look at, especially like the one where like his hands stretching out and like they're opening like cafeteria doors.
Yeah, I like that image of like Spider-Man, because he's like a direct counter to Spider-Man, because Spider-Man webs him up completely in a cocoon, but then because it's a web and it's got holes in it, he just like goes through the holes and like sand grains and it comes back out. And it's just like a direct webs do not work on him. Like that's one of Spider-Man's gimmicks, is like strength doesn't work on him. The only thing Spider-Man really has is he can dodge well.
Yeah, exactly. And how long can you dodge Sandman for until you mess up?
Exactly, and then he does get messed up when he gets like his hand stuck in him, which is a really cool. I like this move. Is like Peter tries to punch him, and then he solidifies while his hand is still inside of him. So like he's got his hand trapped, and then like it's kind of graphic for this kind of time period. He hardens his head and just keeps headbutting him over and over and over again.
Yeah. So that is really ultra violent for Spider-Man at the time.
Yeah, that's you can the way it's drawn is very, because he starts like buckling and he's just like his knees come back because and you can imagine if this was like animated, he would just keep bang 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 bang. Like that's brutal.
Yeah, I'll say, well, especially and it's look at the body language.
Yeah,
it's just a straight up overpowerment. Like that's a straight up smackdown. That's disgusting to look at when you really think about it animated.
Mm-hmm. Like, Peter Parker, realistically, Peter Parker's nose would be completely broken. Like, everything, like, his face would be bloodied up from that. Because he's like, we've seen, like, Spider-Man can take a punch, but this guy can, like, harden his body, like, ridiculously. So he's hardened. Like, it's like if he fought Hammerhead, like, before Hammerhead was even created.
Yeah, really. You know what I think is more graphic looking to me? To me, I don't know, for something about his pose, it looks painful. It's like right after that when Sandman surrounds him and turns him into a ball.
Yeah.
That just looks straight up, because he doesn't look like a natural like human ball thing. He looks like he's like being crushed.
Anyway, he uses his intelligence, which I like here as well. Is he systematically says, "Okay, I'm gonna get covered by this anyway. Let me make up myself into a ball so I can roll. So then the roll will like make him get off me."
Yeah. Yes, I know it's smart, but it's just that, I don't know, that ball just looks so uncomfortable.
Yeah. Ditko really like gets a lot of mileage out of like, okay, so they each try something. Spider-Man keeps trying to try something until eventually he whips out the Glock.
Yeah. He just I just imagine being such a cool. I think that's what's really funny. Just imagine he's such a threat to Spider-Man. You're really giving him a run for his money, and he just pulls out a vacuum. He Luigi Mansion that bitch.
It's one of my favorite panels. Just Spider-Man's holding this drill, and he's just like, "This electric drill will bore through anything, so you better keep your distance, Sandman." I've actually edited that, so it's like, this electric drill will bore through anything, so you better keep your distance, motherfucker. Because it's the panel he's holding it. He looks like he's about to shoot someone.
Yes. Spider-Man got murder on his mind.
Literally, it's so funny. But yeah, like you mentioned, he pulls out the vacuum, which has become a running gag in Spider-Man of how he defeats Sandman. So he gets Sandman to go into like his cranial form where like everything's like not solid, and then he uses the vacuum to suck it all up and holds him in the bag. So victory assured. However, this is probably the problem with Sandman as a villain and probably why he isn't used as much. After you use that entrance, people find it harder and harder and harder to justify ways where Spider-Man can beat him.
Yeah. I do think that's one issue because I feel like after, because you can only get beat by the same thing so many times.
Mm-hmm.
Like besides this, a few other ways, like there's just no way that Peter should be able to beat Sandman. And yeah, I think you're right. I wonder, that might just be the reason why I don't think we see Sandman as much, just because there's a lot of good ideas for like the beginning and the middle, but it's always kind of the same ending.
Yeah, you have to find some, because Peter Parker can't. Peter Parker normally has the cool thing, is where one of the best things about Spider-Man is that he normally does beat his villains for intelligence. Like the Doc Ock fight, he doesn't beat him by overpowering him, he beats him by like making a gadget to stop him. So you can kind of do that with Sandman, where like Peter Parker like has special web fluid he makes, or he finds different ways that can like stop him. But it is one of those things, like people say this all the time, is like people love the Riddler, people would never want to write the Riddler because he's hard to write for. Sandman's hard to find a way to beat him because you have to find a new one every time, and the more he's been around for so many years, nearly every way has been taken.
Yeah, I think you're right. Wow, we really cracked out on the on Sandman today.
Yeah. One last thing, which I think before we go like closer to the end of this issue, which I adore, is one of the most Spider-Man things and one of my most favourite Peter Parker moments. This issue is just full of them. So he beat Sandman. And then he realised, oh crap, I didn't take any photos of me beating Sandman. I know. He goes, gets sand, a bucket of sand, and he throws it in the air and pretends to fight it as he takes pictures of himself.
Oh, isn't that great?
It is. I remember I saw a tweet. I was like, Peter Parker was the original influencer because this bitch was making money of his own photos since the 1960s.
Peter Parker was the first Instagram thotty. Stay woke.
Literally, he says, "Oh, this isn't really unethical." Yes, it is.
Yes, it's like the shooting a retake of a movie. Yeah, but that's a movie, not real life.
You're literally I want this in a movie just so I could see this in like, because in comic panels it's funny, but it's not as funny as if you actually had to see him take every step by step of throwing sand in the air and trying to fight it, stopping, picking it up again, and then doing it again.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I would love to see this in a movie.
It's just one of my favourite things. So yeah, the Spider-Man hands Sandman over to the cops. Jameson freaks out because he's just like, well, can you come over to the cops too? But no. Basically, Spider-Man hands him over. Jameson's like, make Spider-Man come down too. Why doesn't he face us? What is he trying to hide? As a taxpayer, I demand to him be apprehended. I want to start using that line more after myself.
As a taxpayer.
I demand he be apprehended.
I am a taxpayer.
He's like says it with such pride. But yeah, so Peter Parker gets changed. He hands the photos to JJ. JJ, he doesn't have time to develop them, so JJ's just like, "Don't worry, take out your pay."
No. It's I love that's my favorite panel in this entire story.
Oh my god.
Just because I can just imagine it, just because I imagine being said a little different than it's like worded here. I just imagine me like, that's all right. Don't worry about it. I'll take the cost of developing it out of your pay. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Like I imagine just sneaking in that little like part.
He's like, don't worry, I'm doing you a favor.
Yeah. I'm doing you a favor. Don't worry. I'll just take it out of your pay. It's no trouble at all.
So now I'm like, you know what? Maybe Peter was justified as taking those picks if James is going to be a dick about it.
Yeah, for real. Fuck Jonah.
But yeah, so Jonah, again, we're seeing a lot more of him as these issues go by, and I'm really liking it because, again, this is like Stanley's favourite character. This is the guy he wanted to play. You can really tell he loves every single second writing his dialogue.
Oh yeah, no, you can. Honestly, I almost feel like there's like always supposed to be a little bit more Jonah J. Jameson than we get to see, but then like an editor or Ditko or someone was like, "Bro, we need to chill out on Jonah." So he's like, "Okay."
You can't ever chill out on the Jonah. He's a taxpayer. He demands panel space.
That's right.
That's right, indeed. But yeah, we got Peter Parker's like feeling good about himself because he got paid. He managed to stop Sandman. Everything's going right. Liz Allen does the bitch fade with those like eyebrows where she's just like flicks her hair back and says, "Oh, really, Peter? Well, Mr. Parker, I have made other plans." It's really necessary. But then Flash decides to bring up the umbrella from earlier. He's like, "Yeah, go grab that." And then Peter snaps. And he's like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna beat the fuck out of you right now. And then this is a really funny panel of like Liz Allen like freaking out, like, what?
It's just, Nani?
And there's this asshole in the back smiling, like, yeah, get him, Peter.
Yeah, you give yourself this dude's been waiting for Peter to wail on him.
But yeah, so like then we get like the classic, I can't fight Flash because I'm Spider-Man, it would be suspicious. But then
I love that Spider-Man. I love that Spider-Man trope where, like, you know, it's like Spider-Man on one side and Peter Parker, regular Peter Parker on the other.
Yeah,
That's always so fun to look at.
it's one of my favorite like image, like, especially with like Spider Sense, who's like his half his face with the mask.
Yeah. I think it's good at like really showing that Spider-Man and Peter Parker are definitely the same person. It's just you kind of just Spider-Man. He just gets to be able to like, you know, be brave.
Mm-hmm. And it's also just a nice like. You get to see how the costume, what it looks like underneath the costume, that it is his body shape. He's not overly muscular randomly when he gets the costume on. It's his face shape. It's his jaw shape too. Everything is just, he's wearing the mask. It's just covered well. It just helps remember that, yes, they're not two separate characters like Clark Kent and Superman. They are one guy.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not putting on an act in either person. He's just showing a different side of himself. And Superman has become that too, but Superman wasn't always that way. But Spider-Man started out that way.
Yeah. Well, even then, I still feel like there's a difference. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
like Clark Kent, Clark Kent and Superman are both very good men, but Superman's a good man who's allowed to be bold.
Yeah, and Clark Kent's a good man who's allowed to show insecurity.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, so, you know, Spider-Man does, it's not the Jedi way to pulverize him. And then, you know, it's back down and everyone starts making fun of him.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, he ends up going around with like, he's feeling depressed, but this is kind of giving him this cold shoulder, but then you also kind of get the feelings that, oh, she's really just mad at him because she kind of likes him, and he isn't picking up on that, because Flash is kind of just like, wait, I thought you were mad at him. Like, what? I was so confused. I think we've all been there.
Yeah.
Everyone's got their own motivations, but then we get this nice page of like the last two panels I quite like, because they're kind of like typical Spider-Man. Is Spider-Man's just hearing everyone pick up the Daily Bugle, and he's hearing all the words by different people, and it's like everyone's kind of got different opinions on Spider-Man. Like, some are like, oh, he caught Sandman. Some are also like, oh, Spider-Man's just as bad as the other one. So what did you think of this, like, the beginning of the public having an opinion on Spider-Man?
I think it's good because I think it shows a growth in, like, the world of Spider-Man. Like, I think, like, I feel like it shows how he went from, you know, like, you know, like, teenagers, a few other people knew about him just because, like, he was a cool thing to watch on TV. Even this one guy finds out about him and this keeps pushing it, and now like everyone in the city's talking about him. It's essentially, I don't know, it's very interesting because this is something you kind of like don't see people talk about anymore, because like shit like Spider-Man, like I don't think like would talk to like the person on like the subway about Spider-Man. You'd probably tweet about it with people, and then like that'd be the end of it.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool just because it's a little like time capsule and like what 1963 looked like.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's an interesting part.
But that last panel's so cool.
Yes, this is kind of the definitive Spider-Man image. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I love when the mask is like loose like that.
Mm-hmm. I also think this is what the Spectacular Spider-Man, like at the end of every episode, like the sky would go red and it would have like the Spider-Man mask. And I think this is where it comes from. It's like this kind of like we end the chapter with an image of the webs and the Spider-Man mask, and then whatever else around there is with that. But here we have Peter Parker, and this is something I'm sure you've seen the Twitter discourse of like the kind of the Spider-Man fan base, specifically like the movie fan base, and how they're kind of like split on opinions on like Tom Holland is he an accurate Spider-Man or not.
Yeah.
I feel like this speech by Peter here is just the plot of Spider-Man Homecoming, and that's why it's accurate to me.
Let me read the speech just to see if I agree or disagree.
So he's just like, can they be right? Am I really some sort of crackpot, wasting my time seeking fame and glory? Am I more interested in the adventure of being Spider-Man than I am in helping people? Why do I do it? Why don't I give the whole thing up? And yet I can't. I must have been given this great power for a reason. No matter how difficult it is, I must remain a Spider-Man, and I pray that someday the world will understand.
Nice.
Because he's just...
Yeah.
This is him because, again, people have this misconception. Spider-Man didn't start being Spider-Man. We're like, what, 4 issues in? He's still not really the Spider-Man we know yet. He's still figuring stuff out. Yes, Uncle Ben died, but it wasn't like a light switch moment. It took a while. And right now, he's questioning, am I just doing this because it's a thrill and an adventure? And am I just seeking fame?
Yeah, no, it's... Yeah, you're right. I could... That is very Homecoming-like. I think... I don't know, in my opinion, Spider-Man's such a layered character that I feel like all the movie Spider-Mans are pretty, at least semi-accurate.
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form. But yeah, no, you could... I feel like Toby or Holland were definitely the most Stanley and Ditko-like. I think Tobey Maguire really got down the idea like a nerd who's pushed down on his luck.
But he didn't get the nerd who bites back, which Andrew Garfield really got. Like he's the Peter that would snap at people. He's this Peter.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's very interesting. With each issue, you can kind of feel like it's a different like Peter.
Because he's a multi-layered character.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is definitely a Garfield Peter issue,
Mm-hmm.
and then like, but kind of like we said, by the very end, like he's kind of like he's kind of relaxed. He's thought about the day, and now he's kind of going Holland mode.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting, and maybe I think if people saw stuff like that, where they'd see like different aspects and different takes rather than which is the best, I feel like maybe we'd have a healthier fandom. Yeah,
no, I agree. Well, because I don't feel like Spider-Man, there is really a best Spider-Man. You can have a favorite Spider-Man, but like they all have their ups and their downs.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. Spider-Man writing is very similar to like a fighting game tier list to me. Where like even the bad takes of Spider-Man versus like certain things that they do very well. Like I can't think of any examples right now, but like I don't know. I feel like there's not like even a bad Spider-Man adaptation versus like usually like 1 or 2 good redeeming qualities to it to make it at least kind of worth your time.
Most people like he's just a character that normally invites talent. Just because he's not a simple character, so people have to try with him more. But even if they try in the wrong ways, you can still notice some aspects they got right, kind of thing.
Yeah,
because he's a subversion of the genre. So with any kind of subversion, you have to put a little bit forward to it. Which is why Superman has so many bad stories, because people think of him as lazy and they don't put thought into it, despite him being a very layered character. Whereas Spider-Man is very on the surface, you can kind of get his deal, oh, he's meant to be different than the others, so that makes him always stand out.
Yeah, you're right.
Like it's much easier to write a good story about an ASCAP than it is to write a good story about like the standard, even if both are just as good as each other.
Yeah, Yeah, no, that's very interesting to think about. Yeah, you're right. I think I don't know. I think right there might be the main reason why Spider-Man's endured so long.
I think so, sir.
Just because you could have any creative mind put something at Spider-Man, and it's usually going to be, at least they're probably going to get something right, just based off like of how storytelling should be told.
Definitely. But yeah, so overall, what did you think of this issue, man?
It's interesting. I really didn't like it all that much. While just reading it on my own. Fun issue to read, but in the overall grand scheme of things, I don't know. I feel like it's not very influential. I think it's influential in the sense of like there's a few like really good panels. Jameson's really funny, but like all in all, like out of all the issues we've read, this issue like has done the least amount to like push Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's more so we've kind of at this point got the formula, and this is the first formulaic issue.
Yes, I agree.
But I think it's
next issue
really, really well.
Yeah, I agree. I think having a form. I feel like people feel like having a formula is bad. Having a formula isn't bad. It's kind of the same thing with like how I've always viewed tropes in media. The reason why tropes are done is because they're usually kind of enjoyable to read, watch, or listen to. You just need to handle a formula and a trope well and be able to shake it up after it starts getting stale.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I feel like Spider-Man's really good at, is that they'll have a very similar formula, but they'll shake it up enough where you aren't bored.
Exactly. And I feel like, again, think of how long humans have been telling stories. Realistically, on a basic level, you can boil it down. Every single story has been told. Like there's like a famous quote is like, there is only one story people tell, which is who am I? And that's every story ever been told ever. That's just that. It's just a character piece or something. There's not an infinite number of stories. However, there are ways you can execute those stories, and the quality of that execution is what makes good writing, or that subversion. So Spider-Man is kind of like, again, he has there is a Spider-Man way to tell stories. There is a feel to good Spider-Man stories. And just because there exists a feel or like a formularity doesn't make that bad, because just like how everyone has their own type of favorite foods, sometimes you want to enjoy that specific feeling, and the Spider-Man feeling is something that has endured for a long time.
Wow, yeah, I like the food analogy to storytelling.
Yeah,
So that's really interesting. I think there are really that's really similar to me actually. That makes a lot of sense to me. I just because I like to eat.
But yeah, so this issue I really enjoyed. I think it's probably the funniest one we've had so far. It's not the most plot intensive, but I feel like this is because they've got the formula, so Lee especially doesn't have to spend so much time writing exposition. He more so just gets to enjoy writing, and a lot of Stan Lee mannerisms come out of this issue, especially given Sandman I think is more a Lee character than he's a Ditko character. Especially because Lee kept using him in his Fantastic Four run, so that we have no confirmation on that, but just to me that makes it seem as if Lee had more investment in this character than Ditko did, because we never see him like pop up in Doctor Strange or something. So yeah, that was really good. But speaking of eating, next issue we shall taste victory. For only one man can stand atop a pillar. Only one man was born to rule. Only one man is the king of the Marvel Universe. My personal favourite supervillain of all time, Doctor Doom.
I'll say you're gonna pop off so hard next week. Oh my god, I'm excited.
Doom does not pop off. Doom is already off.
Oh, Dr. Doom's so great.
Doom is in a permanent state of off.
Doom toots as he pleases.
Doom toots as he shall wishes. But yes, super excited. This issue was just made for me. This is one of my favorite fictional characters versus one of my favorite fictional villains. Spider-Man, Doctor Who. It had to happen. Look forward to it. It's gonna be a milestone.
Yeah, it's gonna be a masterpiece.
A masterpiece, baby. But yes, before I get copyright striked for that.
Oh no.
I hope you've enjoyed Old Chums. As always, make sure to share this, check out the issues for yourselves, and just have a good time. So, again, this is Alfie signing off. Take it easy.